Hey everybody, it's Coach Emmett coming to you from beautiful Georgetown, Texas here in room 132. Hoping you're having a great day. I know I talked a little bit about to third period about this lesson. It can be kind of iffy on this one, so you need to pay close attention. We're going to do lots of work on this in the class tomorrow, and just have an open mind and try to think through it. Watch the video a couple times. All right. So we've solved quadratics using square root properties before, okay? We're going to write perfect square trinomials. Basically, we're taking a trinomial and we're turning it into a perfect square. Okay, so all of this being said, okay, it all comes down to this right here, this b divided by 2, okay? b is that term right there. So when we try to fix and complete the square here in just a second, we're going to take that term and we're going to divide it by 2 and then square it. And it'll all work out. You're going to have your FOIL method to check these, so there'll always be a way to check it out. Okay? So we're going to find a value of c that makes x squared minus 12x plus c a perfect square trinomial. And remember, for it to be a trinomial, it's going to be x plus something. All right? I'm just going to put a question mark right here. And it's going to be squared. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to find a perfect square trinomial. Well, there's a couple of different ways that you can do this. The first your book talks about are using algebra tiles. We haven't used these a lot. They're okay. But what I want you to look at right here, you have an x squared. You have negative 12x. Here's 6 and 6. And so if you look, this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there are 36 positive tiles right here, or 36 tiles. And then you just have to look and see how your signs go so that it adds up and makes a full shape right there. Okay? Now, on the STAR test, they're not going to let you have these. So what you're going to have to do is complete the square. Okay? And remember what our formula is, x squared minus 12x plus c. I'm going to write that up here. X squared minus 12x plus c. And we're trying to figure out what that c is. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take negative 12 and divide it by 2. And we come up with negative 6. Then we're going to take negative 6 and square it. It becomes 36. So our final formula is x squared minus 12x plus 36. And what we can do to check that is we can go to x minus 6 squared. You can see it right here. We want to make sure that this equals this after you FOIL it out. So it would be x minus 6 times x minus 6. All right? And it's going to work out. It's going to be x squared minus 12x plus 36. Another thing to remember is you can do anything to a formula as long as you do it to both sides of the equal sign. Remember that as we go into this next slide. Okay? Find the value of c. Actually, it's the slide after this. Find the value of c that makes this work. So what we're going to do is we're going to take b, 14 divided by 2 equals 7. Okay, so is 7 the answer? No. What I've got to do is 7 squared equals 49. Okay, and it's going to be 49 right there. Okay, and the way you can check this, when you have this term, that is going to be what you multiply by. It's x plus 7 squared. So x plus 7 times x plus 7 will equal x squared plus 14x plus 49. All right, going on. So what if you have a formula like this by completing the square? I know what you're thinking. Well, Coach Hammock, I could just go minus 12, and I could go x squared plus 6x minus 7 equals 0. Yeah, you could do that. There's nothing wrong with doing that. And now you could solve it. This is just another method. So there's several different ways you can solve by graphing or factoring, or just using the quadratic equation that we'll learn next time. This is just another way of doing this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to subtract 5 from both sides. And the reason I want to do that, I want to get the c term out of there. I want to just be left with x squared plus 6x equals 7. Okay? So there you go. Now I want to look at this b term. Well, I've got my 6, and I'm going to divide it in half. And then I'm going to square it. Well, 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 squared would be 9. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add that 9 in here. Well, I'm going to go x squared plus 6x plus 9 equals 7 plus 9. If I do something to one side of the equation, I have to do it to the other side. Okay, so let's simplify this down. Excuse me. X plus 3 squared equals 16. Now, how could I get rid of this squared right here? Well, that's pretty easy. I just take the square root of that side, and I take the square root of this side. Okay, the square root causes the square to go away, and I'm left with x plus 3 equals plus or minus 4. Okay? Next step is just solving it. So I'm going to say, what if it's a positive 4? X plus 3 equals 4. And then another equation is going to be x plus 3 equals negative 4. So in both cases, I'm going to subtract 3. In this case over here, I get x equals 1. In this case over here, I get x equals negative 7. Those are my two solutions. Okay? Negative 7 and 1. All right, it doesn't matter which order you give them to me right there. Okay? All right, so let's go. We're going to solve this one. Solve x squared minus 8x plus 10 equals 30. Sorry about that, guys. You're not going to believe this, but Dorhauer interrupted me again. Anyway, okay, so we're going to solve this. Now, two ways of doing this. I know that one way is you just put negative 2 in and see if this side equals 30. 10 in and see if it equals 30. That's great. That's one strategy for doing a multiple choice test. But if we didn't and we're just solving for the square, I'm going to go through the steps for that. I'm going to do the first one right here. Subtract 10 from both sides. Comes up to x squared minus 8x equals 20. Half of this is negative 4. Negative 4 squared is 16. Okay? So x squared minus 8x plus 16 equals 20 plus 16. So now I've got x minus 4 squared equals 36. I can take the square root of that. I can take the square root of that. X minus 4 equals plus or minus 6. X minus 4 equals 6. X minus 4 equals negative 6. X equals 10. And x would equal negative 2. So it looks like negative 2 and 10. A is your answer right there. Okay? Alright. So we're going to solve this one by completing the square. I'll let you go ahead and try that. Alright, so this is the work I did and the way I solved it. Let you look at that and see how you did. Okay, I think B ends up as our answer right there. Alright guys, 9-minute video, not that bad. Hopefully we can get this down, work some of it tomorrow, and we'll be ready for the next section. We'll see you tomorrow guys. Bye.